So this is my first 4K video for the unofficial Mammoth and other Steam forum, and what you can see here is a bunch of stuff basically. There seems to be a pair of white gloves and a syringe on the left, and there seems to be a radio control on the right. But if we reveal, that's what we're looking at today. That is the Roundhouse B-class radio controlled Darjeeling locomotive. Now, I'd always fancied one of these, but I didn't really have a justification for it because there wasn't any rolling stock, and a loco without a rolling stock is not much use. But there's a new kid on the block called Timeless Models, and they're creating a range of DHR rolling stock. I'll show you some pictures of them here. And I've been fortunate enough to do a review for Garden Rail magazine, and suddenly I've ended up with a rake of rolling stock. So the obvious decision was to finally treat myself, which I have done, and buy the Darj from Roundhouse, and that's exactly what you see here. I have to say that this loco is one of the most detailed locos from Roundhouse I've ever seen. I've always been a great fan of Owen Glendour, but the stuff on here is really a sight to behold. So before we go into the steam up, I want to show you a few little bits of detailed parts which I'm really impressed with. Firstly, you've got those wonderful buffers and the chains as well. You can buy those as an optional accessory should you choose to do so. And then moving up, you've got a lovely smoke box. Now that smoke box would actually be detailed out in silver, so I think I might pick that out at some point in the future. And then finally, a beautiful light. You've got a light forward and backwards, and that lovely brass capped chimney. And this is a lovely little accessory. It's a re-railing rod and a couple of firing irons, which just slots into a slot where the coal load is. A really nice touch. The wheels are totally gauge adjustable from 45 to 32 millimeters. 2 Allen screws hold each wheel against the axle. And the valve gear is really, really pretty to look at. It's a truly lovely and well detailed model. One thing that I really like the look of are these really weird angled cylinders. They're just sort of set at a slight angle towards the front of the loco. They're just so different and really, really classy. I think they add a huge amount to this model. The blue dome here hides the water filler and also the safety. So when you fill it, you take the blue dome off, and then you'd unscrew this bit and pop your water in, and then you pop the blue dome back on. And here is the matching rear light, and then of course going down into the cab you've got all that lovely backhead detail. The pressure gauge and the steam lubricator are situated to the left of the cab, and you might think it's quite difficult to get to the steam lubricator, but it has a trick up its sleeve. You can get to the steam lubricator because the lid hinges very simply, just like that. The gas regulator is located to the right of the cab, and if you look just below that, you might just be able to see the radio control function for the steam regulator. You see that white bit there, that's the servo. And underneath the faux coal load is where the batteries for the receiver are located, and the coal load simply drops into place. You'll also notice a slight hole at the bottom left of the picture, and that's where you put your gas into your gas cylinder. Now, apologies for the 4 cans of Coach and Wagon Works paint that the Darj is propped up on, but they make some really good paints, so I think what we'll do is we'll drop the web address to Coach and Wagon Works onto this video just like, but that's all I've got, so that's what we're going to do. The rule of thumb is when you load the loco up, you do gas, oil, water, GOW, and I'll tell you the reasons for that. So following on from the GOW principle, gas first, and here we go. Why on earth would you put gas in first? Well, gas is coming out of this canister very, very cold indeed, and it needs time to stabilise. So while you do the gas first, and it's full already, you do the gas first, let that cool down, and then you can add your oil and your water. And what I generally do is just let it settle down and just do another quick cross check. Yep, that's full. Okay, so the Owen Gow is oil. You can't see this, but if you look very closely down the side of the lubricator, you'll see a little crossbar, and that's got a small hole in it that when the thing warms up drags the steam oil into the cylinders to internally lubricate it. Now what it's worth doing is just cracking open the drain cock here for the steam oil, because when it's factory tested at Roundhouse you may see a little bit of water coming out of here with the condensate, but look, that's lovely clean steam oil, so I know that my lubricator is completely full. So the final piece of the jigsaw and the W part of Gow is water. So you unscrew that, that's your safety valve as well, bang your syringe in and fill up the loco. We're coming into the 5th syringe now, and will probably overflow, I should imagine, very shortly. And there she goes. Okay, the boiler is full. If you left the boiler in that state, you would not raise steam, because you need to create a space for the steam. So what I advise you to do is to pull off between 15 and 20 millilitres of water, and that creates room for the boiler to build the head of steam. So the last thing we do before we're ready to set fire to the loco is just to add a little bit of light lubrication. Now this is 3-in-1 oil, not steam oil. Steam oil is too thick. So a little bit of 3-in-1, and really guys and girls, less is more. This model will come very lightly lubricated from the factory, but please don't put too much on, particularly in a garden railway setting, because you're outside, you're trundling through the flora and fauna, you'll pick up all the bits of grit and grime, and you could potentially add wear, because those bits of grit and grime will collect in this running gear. So don't put too much on. Okay, I've got no idea what the end result of this first firing is going to be, because I haven't fired this loco before. This is straight as it comes from the factory. But all we should be able to do is crack open the gas regulator. We'll hear the hiss of gas, and we will apply flame to the chimney, and the chimney will suck the flame down, and you should hear a pop as the boiler kicks into action. So here we go. Bingo! She's alight! Now, after about 30 seconds, I like to bring a new loco up to steam really slowly. You can hear the burner's quite vicious at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back the burner off, so you can just about hear it. Remember, this isn't a Scalextric racing car, this is a live steam model. Bring everything up to temperature gradually, metal expands, let it expand gradually, particularly with a brand new model. Okay, whilst the Darj is warming up, it's always a good idea just to double check the radio control gear. Probably even better to do it before you set fire to the loco in the first place. So the on-off switch is located under here, but you always turn the transmitter on first. You can see that's the gear, and that's the regulator. Now here you can see the condensate dripping out below the beams. This is perfectly normal, and even so more normal with the new engine as it beds in. So don't worry about this, perfectly normal. And within a matter of 2 or 3 minutes, you can see there's 20 psi on the gauge. So it's probably time to get her moving. So this is where things get a bit spitty and spatty, because you're going to get condensate coming out of the chimney. Again, perfectly normal, a bit unsightly, but you've got to clear the condensate from the cylinders. So into forward gear, and then into reverse gear, and you can see all that condensate blowing out. And here we go. So nearly there. And once that condensate has blown out, you'll see she'll settle down very, very nicely. Now settling down to a really nice pace in the forwards direction. Now what you've just heard there is the safety blowing off, and that's a really good thing, because that is a very, very good test of a new engine. So what I've done now is I've backed off the boiler even more. So we're going to drop the pressure, because what we're doing is we're wasting steam pressure. You know what? You can't beat the smell of a live steam loco. Okay, it might not be coal-fired, but still it sounds and smells glorious. I've also got to say a massive shout out to John Sutton Models. When I wanted one of these, Roundhouse's next schedule was October 2021, and bear in mind we're just into May. I didn't really fancy waiting that long. Garden Railway Specialists had one in stock, but it was in crimson. But John Sutton Models had one in stock in the HR blue. I did the deal with John on the Friday, and it was on my doorstep on the Saturday. So a big shout to him, and the website John Sutton's Models will appear right now. Well, I think that's about it, and it's about time to sign off. I've never done a 4K video before for YouTube. I've never done a steaming out of the box of a new loco that I didn't know before, and I think I have to say on all counts, this Roundhouse Class B Darj is exemplary. She's a beautiful model. I'm absolutely thrilled to have her in my collection, and I can't wait to get her out on the line and really put her through her paces. Again, this video has been for the unofficial Modern of the Steam Forum. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and see you again soon.